Hey y'all, it's Burgess Taylor, also known as Journey with Burgess. And I'm coming to you because going live is not an option right now, thus the headphones. So, if you're not aware, my mom and my son are also living with us now. And that means there's more noise going on in the house. And I wanted to do an update on a few things, and I wanted to talk about a few things. First and foremost, I am so glad you're here. If you haven't already subscribed and hit the little notification bell to be notified when I have videos, please do so. Make sure you give me a thumbs up or I guess a thumbs down, depending, whatever. It helps my analytics either way. But there's been a lot going on in the world, a lot going on in the United States, a lot going on, hold on. The husband just sent me a text. He's on his lunch hour. Okay. All right. So first and foremost, I've been thinking a lot about how I'm going to be arranging things in the barn because we have the majority of the paneling up on the walls. Hey, how are y'all? So I wanted to update you on the barn. I'm sitting at the picnic table and I thought we'd talk about the barn for a few minutes because this has really been a doozy of a project. I have struggled more with this project. Let me cut the lights on so you can actually see. So we've managed to get a corner in. We've got to fix the bottom under there. We still have the walls over here to do. There's the tools, the baffles, the insulation for the ceiling. But let's talk about what we have done. Those are some of my journals and books and things. Somebody's cutting grass. That sheet is going to be cut to fit over on that corner. And I think that one over there is going to be cut to fit somewhere because we're trying not to waste any of the paneling. These pieces right here, we're going to be cutting to fit over there where the breaker box is because of the way that it's shaped. And we're just going to fit them seams. We're going to fit the seams together. It has definitely been a work in progress. I may not be able to afford to put the paneling up on the ceiling. We're going to put as much of the insulation as we can up, the baffles as much as I can, and then we're going to move the hell in here. I'm going to move all my stuff in here. The other thing I've been thinking a lot about is my lighting, because I bought these track lights. They're not going to be enough. I have the ring light. I have a little tiny ring light on this little live webcam thing. It's adorable. It's so cute. I have a couple of lamps, but I'm going to need like a stand-up lamp. So I've been thinking about going to the thrift stores, maybe to some, if we ever get back to where people are having garage sales, maybe some flea markets. Depending, right now it'll probably be the thrift stores because that's what's available thanks to the dumpster fire year. The other thing I've been thinking about, other than the lighting, is when I walk in my creative space. When I walk in, I want to first of all know that I've walked in and I'm at work. Second of all, this has got to feel, my creative space, it's got to feel like creative home. Like I'm home. Not as in my house home, but as in my creative space home. where I feel happy and I'm inspired. One of the other things that's got to be important is that I am truly, truly grateful that I have the space, that I've had this space in here, that I'm going to have that space out there in the barn studio. But one of the things I've learned from working from home is that I have to set better boundaries. Y'all, I have to set better boundaries. And I think I might do that in the next chat. And we might talk about boundaries. But for now, we're going to talk about transforming or redirecting or refocusing whenever you have negative self-talk, that negative mind chatter going on. Because I've noticed since I've been on social media, since I've been doing the YouTube, over the past few years, my inner critic is much more harsh, much worse. I have a much worse case of imposter syndrome, and I think that's because of the social media. It could be a lot of different things, but to be honest, you have that mindset of, what makes me think I can do this? What makes me think I know anything? You know, what makes me think I can get up here and chat about any of this? What makes me think I can do a video about art or art journaling or planning when it is evident that things are chaotic in my life? Right now, planning is one of the things that's saving me from all the chaos. Negative self-talk, negative mind chatter, mental chatter seriously causes stress. And one of the big things that comes from that is fear. I've talked a lot about fear in a lot of different ways. But when you have anxiety, and I have anxiety, I'm diagnosed with anxiety, I'm diagnosed with ADHD and depression. Things that are stressors that wreak more havoc in your life, like negative self-talk, just tend to exacerbate things that are already going on. It exacerbates these things that are already going on. One of the big problems for a lot of people this year, other years, this year just seems to be worse. Financial hardships, financial things, relationships, not being able to see your family members or living with family members during such a confined year. Work. Some of us are working from home who've never worked from home. Some of us are homeschooling kids. We've never homeschooled kids. It's this whole different ball game going on. Part of the negative self-talk, the negative mind chatter, the negative mental chatter that's going on in our brains comes from this place of, we have this idea of how things are supposed to go, of how things are supposed to be, the way that you want things to be. In your own life, in the community, in the world around us, we have this idea of how things are supposed to go. And when things don't go that way, we resist that change. We resist that whatever it is. Because we're in resist mode. It's resistance. Because we have no control over certain things. And that really bothers a lot of us. It bothers me. Right now, I have no control over certain things. And it bothers me. And the reason it bothers me is because I have these things that I need to get done. And if I can't get them done, then it affects other things. And that affects other things. And it's like this avalanche. And then I feel overwhelmed and stressed out because I'm not getting the things done that I need to get done, that I've got on my big major master to-do list. Maybe I can't get them done because of finances. Maybe I can't get them done because of a lack of help. Maybe I can't get them done because the help that I got messed up something, so then it has to be redone. Maybe I can't get them done because of the weather. I have no control over the weather. I have no control over anybody else's actions either. But that just goes to show you that there are certain things that happen in life, and things just happen. I woke up this morning and it was nice outside. I woke up the other morning and it was pouring down rain, and I'm like, oh, it's a dark, gray, dreary day. Oh, this is going to be a dreary day. But in reality, it turned out to be a really good day because I didn't take that mindset seriously. What I got to thinking about was like, you know what? I love the sound of rain. It's very calming. How about we make this a creative day? How about I don't worry about the things that I was going to do? I put that to the side for later when the weather's nice. And I make this day a creative day. I do some writing, I get some morning pages done, I get some planning out of the way, I rearrange some things. Maybe I go through some things. Maybe I'll do some drawing. I'll catch up on some things that I wanted to do in my art journal. Maybe I'll catch up on some reading, things like that. There are always other things we can readjust. We can redirect our focus and our energy to something more positive. And that's where I'm at with part of this, is that I really want to have a great focus. I really want... Well, I shouldn't say that. I really want to have each day where I've gotten some things done, where I've, for the most part, stayed in focus, where I've stayed, for the most part, on task, where I can get what I need to get done, and that things run smoothly. They don't always. Whenever we are stressed and we have all of this negative mind chatter going on, all of this negative self-talk, it drains us mentally and emotionally. It can cause depression and anxiety, or worsen your depression and anxiety. It can also affect your physical health. So there are certain things that we can do to help get rid of the negative self-talk. And I know this because I experienced this firsthand Sunday evening. So Buddha described the human mind as being filled, and I'm reading, as being filled with monkeys that are swinging from branch to branch, screeching, chattering non-stop. And that's why people often refer to it as monkey mind. I thought that was really interesting. And when I was reading that, I started picturing when, if you've ever watched an episode of Naked and Afraid where they have the monkeys and they're up in the trees and they're constantly making all this noise, and you can hear them. Now, one of the reasons that we experience fear and that we end up with this negative self-talk in the beginning is that fear works as an alarm. It's a bell ringing for us for fight or flight or freeze. It's from way back. Well, nowadays we have these fight or flight responses. We have these alarms that are triggered, and these things are triggered by fears that sometimes are real and sometimes are imagined. When we hear all these alerts, all these alarms, the banging, clanging, clatter, and noise that yells that there's a threat or there's a warning, we're trying to protect ourselves from something or other. When you get into that mindset, that negative self-talk, and you're like, I'm not good enough. For example, let's talk about my fear and imposter syndrome and the self-critic, my inner critic, I'm not good enough, or I'm not a professional at this, or I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not a professional psychologist, therapist, anything. So this is just my personal opinion. So we're filled with all these morning alarms, all these morning, this loud clatter, chatter in our mind. We end up with a negative loop. And that negative loop will play over and over and over again. When I was little, I had a record player, and I had 45s, and I had the albums, vinyls, and if there was a little tiny scratch and it hit that little tiny scratch, it was like awful, just sit over and over and over again. You had to pick up the needle and you'd have to move it. You'd have to clean your vinyl. But sometimes I think that's what we have to do with our brains. We have to train or recondition, redirect our thoughts whenever we are having those kinds of negative thoughts. You can decide on the rainy day that it's not dreary outside. It's not going to be an awful day because it's raining. And instead, decide you're going to have a great day because it is raining outside. It gives you a break from some of the things that you were going to do. And it gives you a chance to do some other things that maybe you hadn't gotten around to doing. Or maybe would be a great day to fill your creative well. I think the biggest thing is that you have to get up and out of that mindset. You have to go from, okay, these things happen and I don't want it to happen. I either want it to happen or I don't want it to happen. And if you are in the, I don't want it to happen, I don't want it to be a gray, rainy, dreary day, and you stay in that stuck loop of, it's going to be a dreary, rainy, yucky day, blah, 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 then you're going to feel blah, 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 blah. So instead say, you know what? Okay, it's a gray, rainy, dreary, yucky kind of day outside, but that doesn't mean I have to have that inside. You can decide that you're going to have a great day, regardless of what the weather is. Some of the things that work are maybe to go and do something else physical. For me, it works better. In order to get out of a mindset that I'm in, if I'm feeling really anxious or I'm out of focus or I'm feeling really depressed, if I get up, go take a shower, get up, go take a walk, maybe if I journal, maybe if I meditate, I can start thinking about all the things I'm grateful for, so you can have an attitude of gratitude. Meditation works. If not, maybe you just need some quiet. Maybe you just need some stillness. Maybe you just need to change your environment. Maybe you need a more positive vibe. So maybe you need to call somebody that you enjoy talking to, somebody who's humorous, or maybe read or listen to something that's humorous. Maybe you could read a book, play some music, anything that gives you a more positive vibe. Another thing is to think about like the idea of paying it forward, of doing something nice for somebody else, an act of kindness, volunteer, something like that. That also helps, I think. Things have been going, like every time I turn around, something's been breaking or something's been going wrong. We didn't have quite enough paneling to finish the walls. We're probably going to have to get a couple more. We've been trying to figure out some of the things. The electrician did some stuff wrong, so we had to get it redone. A friend of David's helped with that. It's just been one thing after another. We were hoping to have me moved into the barn studio this past weekend, and that didn't happen. It didn't happen. I'm not in there yet, and it looks like when I do get moved in there that hopefully we'll have the insulation up in the ceiling, but I probably won't have any paneling or board or anything up covering the insulation. That's my choice, but we've got the holidays coming up, and I just don't see any way around any of this. It's been an expensive project, and we have run out of funds, especially if we have to fix my car, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to fix my car. We have other things that are more important, even though the barn is priority. The cold months here are usually January, February. So if we can, as soon as Christmas is over, go ahead and get the paneling done, which will be harder with furniture in there, but it won't be impossible. It's been one thing after another. Anyway, my uncle died over the weekend, and the funeral is going to be... It's been a lot of different things. I'm trying to negotiate around... Okay, I can pack up everything, but I have nowhere to put the boxes when I pack up everything. So I've been packing up some of the things. I need to go through some more things. And I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, because it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. If I move things out of here, I can't move them into the barn because we are still working on the barn. I can't move them out of here and put them anywhere else because we don't have room for them to go anywhere else. But if I don't pack up things, then it's going to be harder for me to move everything from here, because we're going to have to unpack things from furniture. We're going to have to take that stuff out of that Calex unit in order to move it. We're going to have to take the books out of the bookcases in order to move them. We're going to have to take the stuff off the craft table in order to move it. So it's a catch-22. So I have been doing some things. I've been trying to go through things and reorganize things so that when I do move things, I'm only moving the things that I really want to be in my barn studio, that I really want, that bring me joy, that I actually use, that kind of thing. But there's this negative self-talk in the back of my head. There's this voice that says, you don't deserve this. I don't know what you're thinking. You know that furniture's not going to work out in there. You know that weathered barn paneling that you got, as gorgeous as it is, it's going to be too dark. I don't know what you're thinking. Blah, 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 blah. And I hear these voices, this constant chatter of negativity because I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed out, things aren't going as planned, and then I question my judgment and I second guess myself. And I don't want to be in that mindset. One of the things that I did is I took my journal and I put the inside of the barn is really coming along. I cannot wait to move in. I've been thinking about how I want to set up the furniture. So I drew out, I actually counted out the little boxes because it's a 10 by 16. And I drew it a little smaller so that I had extra room, because the outside of it's 10 by 16, so the inside of it's like 9 something by 15 something. So I took some liberties, and I got to thinking, and I drew some different things that made me stop the negative self-talk. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not an interior designer. I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not blah blah blah. And I actually got to a point where I was like, you know what? There's a way to do this. I think there is really a good way to, maybe I have to reorganize a few things. That's okay. What I've been thinking about is putting the Calyx units where I was originally going to put the desk, and then putting my desk in front of those. I say that because I'm going to be using supplies, and I want my supplies to be able to be easily accessible. I've been looking at things like, where did I write it down? Ideas to make my space work for me and things like that. I've been thinking about like how people have their studios arranged. I've been looking on Pinterest so that I have a better understanding of maybe how things are and can work for other people, because I have no clue. And the more that I think about it, the more that I'm like, well, you know what? Let's get outside of the box. And it is literally like shaped like a rectangle, like a box. And let's get out of that mindset. Let's start thinking about creative ways to do this. That has really made me feel so much better. It really has made me feel so much better, because I know that there are other options. I've even thought about how I could arrange it so I have like the little reading writing nook. I've thought about all different kinds of things. That's one of the things that's actually really helped, is that I'm not stuck going, well, I can only do this way. That has made me stop and go, you know what? All I had to do was change my attitude about it. So I'm going to end on that note, because I've been changing my attitude bit by bit. This month is my Notice the Blessings month. The card that I pulled for the month of November actually said, notice the blessing. These are inspiration, motivation, oracle, whatever you want to call them cards. Gratitude puts us in a position of having instead of wanting, thanking rather than complaining. When we focus on what we already have and take stock of our blessings, we get more blessings. What are you grateful for? Share it with yourself and others. I am grateful for all of you. I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my creative space that I have right now that's in chaos, as well as the creative space I'm about to be able to move into. I'm thankful for my creativity and being able to put my creativity to use. I am grateful for life. I'm grateful for my husband, who supports me and believes in me, and I wouldn't even be on YouTube if it weren't for him, because I didn't really think it was something I could do, but he talked me into it. He's like, I think you can do it. I think you'd do good at it. So here I am, 6 years later, and slow but steady wins the race, slowly but surely. So what are you grateful for? Share it in the comments below. I'll see you again real soon. Thanks, y'all. Have a great one. Bye.